Company of Heroes 3 is an RTS strategy game with 4 distinct factions, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. As we enter a new meta after the March 3rd patch, I shall be briefly discussing the strongest aspects of each faction and what to focus on if you want to excel in the current environment. Afterward, I'll be giving each faction a ranking and seeing who comes out on top. Now, if you recall my first episode of the Meta Report, the Dock were firmly planted in the #1 spot. And for the most part, things haven't really changed even with their nerfs. The faction still has a plethora of great infantry, from Panzer Grenadiers that have a grenade and anti-tank snare, the Bersaglieri, which can be upgraded with potent weaponry, and the Gustatori with their double flamethrowers and high health. Couple this with excellent light vehicles like the Italian tanks and the 8-Rad, ensure that the early game potential for the faction is exceptionally high. This is also accompanied by great support weapons like the League and late game artillery like the Stuka. Finally, the Flak 36 is an extremely effective anti-tank and anti-air weapon. This is in short, the Dock is great in the early, mid, and late game, and can eventually take the win over any kind of defense. The same can be said for the British. Infantry sections are immensely powerful no matter the upgrade, whether it's Recon, the anti-tank boys as they are belovedly called, or Brents. They are, in my opinion, the best infantry in the game. Upgrading isn't too expensive like other factions, allowing you to get an early medical half-track, an AT gun, whatever you need to combat enemy forces. This also applies to their vehicles, allowing them to combat even the 8-Brads of the Dock. The Brits also have access to mid to late game artillery in the form of the Bishop, allowing emplacements which have recently suffered a nerf to take that much more of a hit. Finally, their chonky vehicles and 17-pounder means that they can fight the best of the Dock and even counter the hordes that come at you. Italian tanks can't pen the Matilda front on, and enough of a wall can even stop the most persistent aggressors. In summation, the Brits are a well-rounded faction and easily the most potent ally in the game. Now, the US have improved since their first roundup in the Meta Report, but that foundation is on very shaky ground. If you checked out my last video of the How to Open series, you'll notice a Pathfinder opening, and that is currently carrying the US meta at the moment. For full details, go check out that video. But without this build, the US would easily be last. They have one viable battle group to open with, which is the Airborne. Pathfinders allow for fast teching for Shermans, which are great. But for all other teching options, it is very, very expensive to play the Americans. This has caused Riflemen to become a non-starter for competitive games, and allowed the Pathfinders to really shine for the US meta. Finally, in regards to my comment for the Wehrmacht, the recent patch nerfed their best opening in placements in general. Late game options are limited with the Panzer IV nerf, and while they're still good tanks, they just take that much longer to get out. This is not to say that Wehrmacht is bad, it is not. It's a solid, well-rounded faction. However, the current state of the meta ensures that Dock's excellence in most fields really upends Wehrmacht's okayness in all others. So overall, what are the best tactics currently for the Company of Heroes 3 factions? Well, for the Dock, Panzer Grenadiers are good no matter what battle group you get, but special focus has to be given to the Italian infantry battle group and its Bersaglieri units. And the M13 light tank, especially in large numbers, can really devastate the enemy team. Couple this with a League or Stuka and a Flak 36 emplacement, and you will be sure to do very well in your games. A secondary focus, I'd say, is the Italian infantry group with the Gustatori, finally with armored support coming up in third. Now for second place, and this is a extremely close second, a second that you could easily switch with first at any point, based on other people in the community, is the British. Now for the British, it's very much less battle group specific, and more so a focus on assembling very powerful and potent infantry sections and numerous infantry sections in the early game, acquiring light armor when needed, acquiring bishops when you face emplacements, and acquiring the chonkiest and best vehicles that you can, including the Matilda, special highlight to the Lee/Grant, which can devastate the enemy in numerous numbers. Now as to the US, the battle group of choice is definitely Airborne, and there is no exception to this. It's Airborne or bust. Armored battle group and special operations just don't have a place, with Riflemen being as weak as they are. So go Airborne and check out my How to Open video that came out last Monday for full detail what to do. But in essence, grab Pathfinders, grab the Shermans, and hopefully you'll be able to make do with what you got. Finally, for Wehrmacht, which is in 4th place, there isn't one battle group that specifically overcomes the others. My personal favorite is still Luftwaffe battle group for the emplacements. Your infantry is still solid, your options are still good, there's just nothing broken or insane with the Wehrmacht, placing it, sadly, in 4th place. So that is the current state of the meta based on the community. What are your guys' thoughts? Will the Brits sadly be stuck in 2nd place? Maybe the US will get actually a buff in the next patch. Who knows? Until then, I'm Greyshot151, and I will see you all next time. Until then, I'll catch y'all later.
Hello everyone, this is Greyshot117, and before y'all go, let me give a special shout out to Patreon supporters Joey G240, Milam, Big Cooch, Aphyria, Ace, Pyro Shark, Tony B 95, Epic Pleb. Thank you all for your incredible support and helping me grow my channel and support my channel and everything I do. Thank you, and to the rest of you, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.